Good news on the economy today. Wages grew 0.9% in the March quarter, and over the year that's wage growth of it's gone up to 3.4%. That's well ahead of inflation. The Treasurer was boasting today.
We've got wages growing and we've got inflation falling, and those are really the key elements of this soft landing that we have been engineering in our economy at a time of really substantial global economic uncertainty.
Still, I should add that pushing this wage growth up were the wage rises that governments are giving to public servants. Public sector wages rose 1% in the quarter. Healthcare workers and people giving social assistance, their wages shot up 1.4%. They're wages that we have to pay for. Joining me is the political panel, Cameron Milner, former Chief of Staff to Labor leader Bill Shorten, and now Director of GXO Strategies. Today in London, special event for us. Michael Costa, former New South Wales Labor Treasurer. Michael, good news today on the wages front. Will it now be sunshine and roses under Labor?
Well, I doubt that, Andrew. But look, they're certainly on the better end of the economic cycle. Inflation will come down over the next 3 years, and clearly that's going to lead to interest rates coming down. The problem with Jim Chalmers is taking credit for that. He's the same bloke that said it's going to take him at least 2 terms to do something about productivity. And clearly having wage increases without having productivity behind it is inflationary, and at the end of the day, it undermines economic prosperity. So, the problem here is hubris everywhere, Andrew, and you're seeing it in great buckets in those sorts of comments.
I should add that I think the last budget predicted inflation to rise up again a little next financial year before, yes, indeed, over the next 3 years coming down even further. But Cameron, Anthony Albanese has such power now, a massive majority in the lower house. We'll still need the votes of the Greens to get anything through the Senate that the coalition opposes, though. What do you think? Is this going to go to his head? What are you expecting?
Well, it's what Michael and I discussed last week on the show, which is the Labor right's nowhere to be seen. The Labor right after this election has been smashed. They don't have the numbers in caucus. They don't have the numbers around the ministerial table or the cabinet. So Albo has carte blanche to introduce, along with Penny Wong, a radical hard left agenda, if that's what he wants to do. And the Greens will be there to wave it through in the Senate. The Greens are even more hard left than the Labor left these days, and no one can stop them. Liberal Party can't, and certainly the Labor right can't, as the ballast it used to be in the Labor Party, stopping the worst excesses of the left. So I think it's up to Albo to stop the left and Penny Wong just radicalising the Labor agenda over the next 1 to 2 terms of office, potentially.
But I had the feeling so far, look, Michael, maybe Albanese doesn't actually know what the centre is, in a sense, a creature of the left, and the climate change thing, I think, will come a cropper. But that said, I don't think it's in his nature now to suddenly use this power to go even further than he promised. What do you think?
Well, that's because he's got no vision, Andrew. That's got nothing to do with his ability to be ruthless. He can be ruthless. We've seen that. But they've got no vision. You've got a government now that's essentially got no opposition, has an agenda of taxing and spending, and, this unrealised capital gains, the implications of that are horrific for investment in our economy. And you've got wasteful spending on pipe dreams. That hasn't changed, be it the climate pipe dreams or the sort of rebuilding Australia or whatever it was called. Rebuilding China's economy is more likely. And in a sense, you're going to see this wasteful spending leading to a decline in expenditure in areas that we need to expend, such as defence. So what we're going to get is posturing and virtue signalling, and Albanese with no vision.
Cameron, Susan Lee, what are you expecting from her?
Well, I think she's experienced, and I think it's fair for us to let her have a go, because she's obviously had a lot of time in Parliament, both as a minister and deputy leader. And let's not forget that Albanese is the one who makes it so easy for opposition sometimes. In his last term of government, he had a majority, but he gave it over to the opposition on so many easy issues. So I think Susan Lay's got a chance, but the Liberal Party got to unite behind her, and that's the great danger, is disunity is death.
Yeah, I did think, Michael, that it was rather scrappy, a really scrappy look today, particularly from, the Liberal Party Vice President Fiona Scott. What on earth was she thinking? Was it one of those things where she was telling the truth and didn't know how to stop?
Oh, that's right, Andrew. I mean, you've got a factionalised Liberal Party. I mean, the reality is that what you've seen with the
Isn't the
elevation,
same faction?
it doesn't matter. I mean, you've got people that are more concerned about factional positioning than they are about policy. And look, as for Susan Ley, I think she's doomed. And I say that because not because of who she is, because of the fact is they don't have any policies. She's essentially positioned herself to be a sort of knockoff Labor. Now, would you buy a knockoff Rolex if you get the real thing? You wouldn't, would you? And that's what they're offering, and that will be their problem. I think the only thing that could save the Liberal Party, I think she'll be gone, by the way, in 18 months because of the factional positions within the Liberal Party. The only thing that can save this Liberal Party and this coalition is, I think, the National Party stepping up. They had a good election campaign. People forget that. They had a machine that operated. They won all their seats and they almost won some off Labor. So really there needs to be some pressure put on the Liberal Party to get its act together, both administratively and policy-wise from the National Party, even if they threaten to withdraw from the coalition agreement. The fact of the matter is they're going to be in opposition with Susan Ley for at least 9 years, the way they're going.
Cameron, like you were in the office of Labor leader Bill Shorten in the campaign. When you are fighting the Liberals, do you think, oh gosh, the more they state real Liberal positions, the easier they are to defeat? Or do you think, oh cracky, they're coming to, they're being more Labor light, that's going to make it hard for us? Which is the harder foe?
Well, and we were blessed that Malcolm Turnbull became the Liberal leader. So I don't think I can completely put that aside because Turnbull was the worst Prime Minister to campaign against. But no, I think you're right. I mean, I think Liberals are going to stand up for Liberal values. They've got to be the party of lower taxes. They've got to be there on social issues as well. So they've actually got to be a Conservative party again, rather than Labor light. Labor light might just buy the real thing, however bad that might be. No, the Liberals have actually got to stand up for Liberal values because I think that's where voters are, Andrew. I think voters haven't moved. The Liberal Party has.
Michael, I've got to finish with something that really gave me the pip today. I mean, I know we're into gesture politics and all that, but, seeming rather than doing. But Victoria's hopeless Premier, Jacinta Allan, has released a letter she has written by hand for extra authenticity to the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, telling him, on behalf of the people of Victoria, I want to express our heartfelt support. We stand with you and with the people of Ukraine. But all she's doing is giving him absolutely nothing to defend his country except those 2 handwritten pieces of paper and her best wishes. I mean, what on earth is the point?
There is no point, but it's the virtue signalling you see at all levels of government in Australia. The local government's even worse. I wonder if she CC'd that to Putin because I'm sure he would have dealt with it in the appropriate manner. Look, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. And it's, they can't even run their trains. They can't put infrastructure together, but they're wishing well to Ukraine. And I wish well to Ukraine, but that requires Donald Trump to step up.
Look, it had been wrapped around a revolver and sent to him. It might have been of more use. Michael Costa and Cameron Milner, thank you very much to you both.